The text message illuminated my screen as I stood frozen in the doorway of my own bedroom, the sound of running water from our ensuite bathroom masking my presence. "Can't wait to wake up in your beautiful house every day," it read. Below it, my husband Alan's reply, "Soon. She'll sign whatever I put in front of her." My fingers instinctively tightened around the anniversary gift I'd rushed home early to place on his pillow, a vintage watch I'd spent months tracking down, identical to his grandfather's that had been lost years ago. The metal warmed against my palm as my wedding ring suddenly felt cold and foreign on my finger. In the bathroom, the shower stopped. "My name is Brooke. I'm 29 and an interior designer. This is the story of how I reclaimed what was built with my own hands. 3 years ago, I married Alan believing we were building a future together. He was 34, worked in construction management, and had inherited his grandparents' house shortly before we met. The place had good bones but looked like a time capsule from 1983, faded wallpaper, scuffed laminate floors, and furniture that had seen better decades. Alan had filled it with hand-me-downs from college friends and bargain store basics, seemingly content with the mismatch of styles and eras. When we married, I saw not what the house was, but what it could become. With my design expertise and savings, I began transforming our dated property into something extraordinary. Room by room, I replaced worn flooring, selected statement furniture that complemented the home's architecture, installed custom lighting that accentuated the best features, and commissioned bespoke window treatments that framed the views perfectly. I documented every purchase meticulously, partly from professional habit, partly because I'd discovered early in our marriage that Alan was careless with finances. That carelessness, I gradually realized, extended beyond money. Promises forgotten within hours. Dinner plans cancelled by text. Criticisms about my fixation on aesthetics, as though creating beauty was somehow frivolous. Still, I persisted, convinced that marriage required patience and compromise. What I couldn't compromise on was discovering messages between Alan and Vanessa 6 months ago. She was 25, a temporary receptionist at his office with an Instagram account filled with screenshots of designer homes she clearly couldn't afford. Their conversation history made it painfully obvious what had drawn her to my husband: access to the beautiful home she believed he had created. "Alan has such incredible vision," she'd written to a friend. "His wife just works constantly and doesn't appreciate the amazing space he's built." I saved everything: the messages, the dinner receipts, the hotel confirmations, not for confrontation, but for clarity. I needed absolute certainty before implementing what came next. When I finally reached out to Vanessa directly, suggesting a meeting to discuss the situation, her response contained more excitement than remorse. She arrived at our house wearing a dress that likely represented half her monthly salary, clearly purchased for the occasion. "I want you to know," she began the moment she sat down on my custom sofa, leaning forward with practiced sympathy, "I never intended to hurt you, but when two people connect the way Alan and I have—" "Let's skip the performance," I interrupted, sliding divorce papers across the coffee table. "Alan and I have a prenuptial agreement. No division of property in case of divorce." Vanessa's eyes lit up as she squeezed Alan's hand. "See? I told you she'd be reasonable." Alan nodded, relief visibly washing over him as tension left his shoulders. Brooke, has always been practical. It's actually one of her better qualities." The name slip didn't surprise me. He'd been calling me by the wrong name for months. "Would you mind if I look around?" Vanessa asked suddenly, standing up with barely contained excitement. "I have so many ideas for this place." I watched silently as she paraded through rooms I had painstakingly curated, trailing her fingers over surfaces as though already claiming ownership. "These light fixtures are incredible," she remarked, gazing up at the hand-blown glass pendants I'd commissioned from an artisan in Seattle. "And this dining table, is it custom?" "It is," I replied. "Everything here was specifically chosen to enhance the architectural features of the house." "Perfect," she breathed. "I honestly wouldn't change a single thing." "You won't need to," Alan assured her with a smirk in my direction. "Brooke's just taking her clothes and personal items, right?" I nodded once, seeing no reason to elaborate further. The movers will be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. That night, I stayed in the guest room, listening to their whispers and laughter through the wall of what had been my bedroom. I told you she'd be reasonable. Alan nodded, relief visibly washing over him as tension left his shoulders. Brooke, has always been practical. It's actually one of her better qualities. The name slip didn't surprise me. Sleep never came. Instead, I reviewed my inventory spreadsheets one final time, ensuring nothing had been overlooked. The moving company arrived precisely at 9 a.m., 2 large trucks and 6 workers. I'd hired the best team in the city, professionals I often collaborated with for my design clients. "Morning, Miss Delaney," the foreman said. "We've got your inventory list. Comprehensive job today, huh?" Alan and Vanessa emerged from the master bedroom, still in robes, visibly irritated by the commotion. "Why are there 2 enormous trucks?" Vanessa asked, frowning as workers carefully removed artwork from the living room walls. "How many clothes do you possibly own?" I didn't answer, simply handed the foreman my tablet with the complete inventory. The team worked efficiently, wrapping each piece of furniture in protective blankets, detaching light fixtures with professional precision, even removing the custom window treatments. It took exactly 22 minutes for Alan to realize what was happening. "What the hell?" he shouted, rushing toward workers who were dismantling our sectional sofa. "Stop. That's my couch." I handed him a leather portfolio. "Here are all the receipts. Every piece of furniture, every appliance, every light fixture, every decorative element was purchased by me, with my money, after we married." His face drained of color as he flipped through page after page of documentation. "You can't. We've been using these things for years." "Usage doesn't transfer ownership," I said evenly. And we agreed. No division of property. You keep what's yours. I keep what's mine. "You're taking everything." Vanessa's voice rose to a near scream. "Not the house," I clarified. "That belongs to Alan. Just everything inside it." By noon, the living room stood completely empty except for the built-in shelves. By 2 p.m., the kitchen contained nothing but cabinets and countertops. By 4 p.m., even the curtain rods had been removed. Alan cycled between pleading and threatening. "You'll regret this," he hissed while workers carefully packaged the surround sound system I'd installed last Christmas. "I'll sue you for everything." "On what grounds?" I asked quietly. We agreed in writing. No division of property. As the final items were being loaded into the trucks, a smaller vehicle pulled up. 2 men in coveralls approached the house. "Miss Delaney? We are here for the wallpaper removal." Vanessa, who had been sitting silently on the bare floor since the dining chairs had been taken, looked up in horror. "The * wallpaper *. Custom printed," I explained. "Designed specifically for this house. Cost nearly $9,000. My company." "You can't take the walls," Alan shouted, desperation making his voice crack. "Not the walls," I corrected. "Just what's on them. Like you said, I'm taking all my personal belongings." I left them standing in an empty house with bare walls and exposed outlets where my designer sconces had hung. The house looked worse than before I'd transformed it, all the flaws now glaringly visible without my carefully placed distractions. 17 days later, Alan called. His voice had lost the confidence that had once attracted me. "Brooke, please," he began, audibly swallowing. "Vanessa left. Said she couldn't live like this. We need your help." "We?" I asked. "I meant, I need your help. I was wrong about everything. Wrong about us, about Vanessa, about the house. I didn't realize how much work you'd put into making it beautiful." Vanessa wouldn't stop complaining. Nothing was good enough. "The second-hand furniture I bought looks terrible." She said she didn't sign up to live in a college dorm room. "That sounds challenging," I said, feeling nothing as I gazed around my new apartment. Would you consider coming back? or at least helping me make this place livable again. I thought about the furniture and decor that had once filled his house. Most of it had already been sold, the proceeds funding a complete renovation of my new space with pieces that better reflected who I was now. "I'm afraid that's not possible," I said. "But I wish you luck with your decorating." I disconnected before he could respond, then blocked his number. The divorce had been finalized a week earlier, officially ending our marriage. Some spaces, once emptied, should stay that way.